Hey everyone, welcome back to Desktop Inventions. This week in 3D printing news, we have the tallest 3D printed tower in the world. We have 3D printed cakes from a French bakery. We have 3D printed pistons, TCT Awards, and much more to get into. So we have a lot to cover, so let's dive right in. Okay, first up we have the world's tallest 3D printed tower. This one comes from a report by the New York Post and it's wild. In Mulligan, Switzerland, a village of just 12 people and an engineering team from Zurich have completed the world's largest 3D printed structure, Tor Alva, or White Tower. Coming in at just under 100 feet tall, it's made entirely with 3D printed concrete and even includes a 32-seat theater. The idea is to revive this village's population that's been shrinking over the years from 140 people to just 12 people now. With this amazing 3D printed marvel, I think it will definitely draw excitement and attention to this small town. There are some photos here showing how this was built from pre-construction columns that were 3D printed in a factory. There was a total of 32 massive columns that were used to construct this beautiful tower masterpiece. These 32 towers were then transported to the small town of Mulligans and constructed on site to make the world's tallest 3D printed tower. It's so exciting to see how 3D printing continues to evolve every week and it continues to reshape the world around us. Okay, next up, 3D printed pistons. This project comes from 110 Garage's video on YouTube. These guys do a lot of fun stuff in motorsports, videos from snowmobiles, four-wheelers, and more. In this video released on YouTube, they had the fun idea to try and 3D print a piston for a roughly 250cc two-stroke four-wheeler. So these guys really knew what they're doing and they printed off several test prints to dial in the very tight tolerances needed for an internal combustion piston. They printed the pistons using some high-end polycarbonate carbon fiber filament. And they were printing these pistons off of a QD X-Max 3 FDM printer, which I hadn't seen before this video. The video was very well put together and very entertaining to watch the process of developing this piston over several iterations. I won't give too much away in how it turned out, but I will say if this type of thing is up your alley or you just want to learn more about engines, this video is definitely worth a watch. Go check out 110 Garage's full video. I've linked it in the description down below. Alright, next up is the TCT Awards 2025 from the TCT 360 event in the UK this week. As reported by TCT Magazine, awards just wrapped up honoring standout achievements in additive manufacturing. Let's go take a look at a few of the highlights. Okay, so first up, let's look at a couple of the 2025 TCT Hall of Fame inductees. So we have Neil Hopkinson, the inventor of high-speed sintering. This high-speed sintering process has generated over £1 billion in revenues for its licenses. Another noteworthy mention here was Wilhelm Meiners, the inventor of the metal laser powder bed fusion process. That's a mouthful. He spent over 20 years at the Fraunhofer Institute and he significantly contributed to the transition from rapid prototyping to additive manufacturing. And another part of the ceremony I thought was super interesting was the application awards. So first up we have the Automotive and Rail Application Award. So the winner of this award went to the WHAM Suspension Strut Tower by the BMW Group, partnered with MX3D. So here we can see the BMW Group working with MX 3D printed machines here. They were able to get these components to pass their testing to confirm the strength and consistent quality without the requirement of complete post-processing of the surface. So they didn't have to machine any surfaces after 3D printing. And they were able to endure and pass the high cyclic loading test without the need for post-processing heat treatment, which is what is sometimes needed for die-cast parts. This part was created with generative design to make use of the most efficient structure possible to fulfill the requirements. So MX3D's technology had some distinct advantages like maximum design freedom to reduce the part weight and 24/7 production capability for the automotive industry. BMW's target is to start testing vehicles with these 3D printed components this year in 2025. Alright, next up was the Consumer Product Application Award, which went to Kibu headphones, partnered with Beamy Design, Batchworks, and more. So Kibu manufactures headphones for children with over 70% of the components coming from 3D printing from recycled PLA, reducing the production cost of these 3D printed parts to just £5 per pair and slashing the production time by 85%. Some of the other advantages are these headphones come as an educational build kit so your kids can learn STEM skills while building their own headphones. With their modular 3D printed design, they're easy to repair if anything does break. All the parts are modular and can easily be taken apart for simple part replacement. They also have customizable designs so you can choose your colors and your styles with this 3D printing technology. And these are made in Britain and they're shipping all around the world. These headphones are starting out at just $49 and they're made in Britain and they're shipping all around the world. Okay, next up was the TCT Hardware Award and Polymer Systems Award. This one goes to Zuess Hybrid Robotic Cell. So this one was entered by Rapid Fusion, Extrusion, Atticus, and Kuka. So the Zuess hybrid cell is just as it sounds. It's a hybrid of a metal 3D printer, also combined with CNC machining. So this hybrid cell is able to print parts in place, swap the head out, and then do CNC machining on critical surfaces of this part. This printer can print at very high temperatures, up to 450 degrees Celsius, allowing you to work with a wide range of high temperature materials. So with these features, this Zuess hybrid cell is a wonderful printer for automotive, aerospace, and other industrial applications requiring high temperature, high strength metal 3D prints. It's really great to follow these TCT events and to see the amazing people and the incredible companies pushing the 3D printing industry forward. It's definitely a bright future for 3D printing to make the world a better place. Okay, next up is 3D printed cakes. This one is equal parts delicious and futuristic. According to The Times, a French bakery chain called Maison Bacam is now using a machine called the Patis 3 to 3D print custom cakes and shapes. The machine was invented by Marine Corre-Balias, a French engineer and the founder of La Pâtisserie Numérique. Pardon my poor French. This revolutionary printing method has 4 basic steps according to their YouTube video. The first step is setting up the machine, adding the powder, readying the batter, and installing your build plate, in this case is a cake pan. The second step is the printing. So first the powder is introduced into the cake pan, then the nozzle starts printing the cake suspended in this powder substance, a bit similar to SLS printing. Third, once the printing is done, the cake is taken out and the cake is baked. And finally, post-processing. You can dig out your cake out of the powder and clean the powder off to find your new custom shaped delicacy. This is a great example of how additive manufacturing isn't just for plastic and metal, it's transforming food as well. Expect to see more in the food space, in the 3D printing space in the future. And finally, another story coming out of MIT, a big win for sustainability. At MIT, their researchers just developed a new method for printing reusable, dissolvable support structures. So with this method MIT has worked on, they're focusing on resin printing, where you have a vat of liquid resin as your 3D printing base material that typically gets cured by UV light to solidify the resin into the shape of the part that you want. However, this type of printing still needs support materials for shapes with overhangs. This creates 2 problems. One is the post-processing, where you have to manually remove the support pieces, and the second is the waste. Typically when you're done with these prints, the support pieces just get thrown into the garbage. So this genius team at MIT, they took out to solve both of these problems at once. They came up with a really clever method of printing 2 different materials out of the same base material. Well, sort of. With resin printing, you can only have one type of material since the material is in a liquid tank that the part is semi-submerged into. But the approach they took was curing this material with 2 different types of light to create 2 different types of end materials. So for the part itself, it will be cured with UV light, which creates stronger bonds to hold the part together. Then the support material is cured with visible light, which creates weaker bonds. So once the part is completed, the support material is easily dissolvable in a variety of food-safe solutions like baby oil. But even more interesting is the support material with the weak bonds can actually dissolve into the tank of the original 3D printed resin. So not only can you automatically remove your supports with this method, but you can also recycle your supports back into the original material. This is an amazing breakthrough and definitely helps build a future of sustainable 3D printing. So that's it for this week's main news topics. Let's head over and see the Printables and Thingiverse prints of the week. All right, and for our Thingiverse print of the week, this is the tension belt roll-up system by Bleamehuaba. This is a really complicated model, so I printed it out and there's, I don't know, over probably 12 different parts to make this. And it is a very detailed, intricate design. So it's intended to roll up like ratchet straps. If you have your little 2-inch ratchet straps and you need to roll those up into a roll, you can feed it in here, use this crank handle and roll them up. So this design is super complex and well thought out. Let me go through just how it works here. You would first open this up, take your ratchet strap, slot it into the shaft here, feed it through these wheels. Probably have to take one wheel off, feed it through, put this back on. Then you would close the cage here. Then you would start cranking up your handle here to roll up the ratchet strap. And then finally, once you're done, you would open this up, and there was a push plate that would be in here that you push it off from the back to pop off your ratchet strap. A few problems I found. For me, this was too tight of tolerance. I couldn't really assemble it. I had to like jam it in there. There's this lock in the middle here, which if you don't unlock this thing, it feels like it wants to break it. And there's some other things like with this, so these wheels falling off, and as well as these gears in here are planetary gears. So when you do one revolution here, I think it's like a third of a revolution here. So it just takes too long to roll up the straps. So some other challenges here, just the nature of the design. This large part here includes these shafts, and it would be laid down flat. So these shafts are really in a weak direction. So I did print as many walls as I could and to make those stronger. But this is definitely a weak point in the build. But ultimately, I wanted to use this for fighting hand wraps, and this was just way too small to use it. So I remixed a version of my own. I just grew this thing to make it wide enough for the hand straps. I got rid of the planetary gears. I just put a spacer in there so this can rotate much faster. And I modified this closing trap a little bit. When you open this up, you really only have to take this one wheel off, and this other one was always falling off. So I just made a simple little snap to make that not fall off. So that being said, let me demonstrate how it works. Okay, to start, we're gonna open the trap, take this wheel off, find the end of our strap here. So we're going to put that onto this shaft. I like to roll it up a couple times to get this thicker part past the wheel. Put the wheel on, close the trap, and now we're going to start cranking away. Just like with any strap, you have to make sure it's halfway straight coming into the device. Now once you're done, you pull the shaft out, open the trap, and here is your hand wrap. So there we go, that is the tension belt roll-up system. All in all, I would say it's probably not any easier than just rolling up these belts by hand, unless you gotta do like 30 of them, but it was a pretty fun project to work on and try and optimize a little bit. Could probably make it a little bit better, but still, I would probably just prefer rolling them up by hand. All right, so for the Printables print of the week, we have the Magnet Splitter V2 here. This was designed by myself, Desktop Inventions, and it's a pretty nifty little tool that works well. So just two parts here, they slide together like so. And currently I'm working on a project that has high-powered magnets, and these are very difficult to pry apart, and really you can't pry them apart by hand. So I made a very simple tool here. We just slot this in here, and then this tool just shears them off. So it's really simple and easy to split up these magnets. And what's cool, you can put the stack of magnets back in here, and you can use it to combine the stack together without pinching your hands. And here, just to give you an idea how powerful these magnets are, I've got 4 in my hand here, and yeah, it just pulls that thing right across the table. So magnet splitter and combiner is a super safe and fun alternative to not pinch your fingers off. Okay, that's it for this week's video. I've got to say, it's been an incredible week for 3D printing news, from the world's tallest 3D printed tower, to 3D printed French cakes, to recyclable, reusable support structure. And I've got a banger of a video coming out this week on an awesome new 3D printing project that I can't wait to share with you guys. That video is dropping on June 10th, so keep an eye out for that. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit the subscribe button, or come join me on Patreon to help support the channel. We'll see you next time at Desktop Inventions.